Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. This is HJM Boxing back again with another video. We've got a post-fight chat now with the boys, Harvey and Eddie. And yeah, we're going to go straight into it, balls deep. Povetkin Whyte. I'll start with Eddie. What were your thoughts on the fight, mate? Povetkin Whyte.
Povetkin Whyte was a good fight. I feel like it went the way I was expecting it to go. I thought Dillian Whyte would put the pressure on. I was a bit disappointed with Povetkin's performance. I thought he was going to show more of a fight, be more durable, and that hard Russian fighter that we know that he is. But yeah, so Dillian came out strong, hurt him badly in the first round, really badly. I thought the fight was going to be over in the first round, to be honest. But Povetkin, you know, he stuck in there, but I don't think he fully recovered from that first round montage like that Dillian Whyte came at him with. So yeah, the fight showed to me that I think Povetkin's done. I think COVID, I think his camp, I'm not sure that he's up for it anymore. Obviously, he had to fulfill the rematch with Dillian because of the contractual agreement. But if he won that fight, I didn't see him pushing on and looking to go for world titles again. So, yeah, it was a good fight. Dillian caught him with some lovely shots. I thought Dillian boxed different to how I expected Dillian to fight. Something I haven't really saw. He was throwing the left and the right, the 1-2, getting a lot of success on the chin of Povetkin. Had him hurt with that combination 2, 3, 4 times, and ultimately that's what set up the left hook to finish the fight. Yeah, so really happy for Dillian. Obviously, he made a big mistake getting knocked out in the last fight, and he was sitting on a world title fight for over 600 days. Now he's back in that position. Let's see. I mean, he can sit on that position and wait for Joshua Fury. Two fights there could be between those two. So that's a long time for him to wait. But I do think Dillian needs to stop taking risks. I'd like to see him potentially fight Wilder if he's going to fight in the meantime. If he needs a tune-up fight to wait for that world title fight, then, you know, he can take that with some low top 10 sort of opponent just to fine-tune his skills ready for that fight. But yeah, good Dillian got the win, and let's see where he pushes on and see what him and Eddie have in the future.
Yeah, no, I agree. Harvey, do you think it was more Povetkin was poor, or do you think actually Dillian Whyte was on his game, to be fair? What was it, a mixture of both, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of predicted it, didn't I? And said that Dillian Whyte would come out and meant business, and he did last night. I think you could see straight from the minute the first bell went, you know, he was up for it. He was getting the power punches in, and that, like Eddie said, that first round for me, Povetkin never had really recovered from it. I think, like I say, he should have won the first fight, but he got caught. He's a better boxer. That's simple as that. You saw it last night. I just think Povetkin, unfortunately, he's had a great career. Fair play to him, all respect. But there's too many other bigger fighters now. I think his time sort of come to an end in boxing. You know, he's had a great career. I think he's 41 now, or something like that. Or he's old. He's just had COVID. You see that affected him massively. He just looked tired. He looked lacked the energy last night for me. He never really looked like he was gonna even land punches last night on Dillian Whyte. You know, fair play to Dillian Whyte though for coming out and just completely outboxing him, because you didn't see that kind of performance in the first fight for me. You can see the camp in Portugal's paid off clearly. He looked fit. He looked in good shape. Some of the punches he landed last night were just Povetkin just couldn't take him. And this is a guy in Alexander Povetkin who's got a really good chin on him as well. So, you know, for him to be getting hit like that, and you can see that Dillian Whyte is ready for that next level, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Povetkin's whole demeanour looked a bit weird. I thought he was a beaten man before he even got in the ring. To me, he looked like he was about to go to sleep. I don't know, like he was going to go to bed or something, like how he was walking and everything. He looked very odd. Looked like he was yawning as well. I don't know, he just had a weird demeanour to him. But no, Dillian did what he had to do, and I'm interested to see where he goes next. Harvey, where do you think he goes next? What fight do you see next for him?
I think it makes sense now. He joked about it on IFL, I think it was last night, saying that he needs to break Joshua's leg so that he can fight Fury. But realistically, it's going to be a two-year wait, I'd say, before he's going to get his shot at the title. Wilder, in the meantime, for me, is the most logical fight. Wilder or Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, for me, makes sense. One of them two. And then maybe, depending on Usyk Joyce, fight one of them. You know, they're both for, even a Dubois maybe. If that would be a good fight. Everyone would like to see that happen. There's a lot of unreal heavyweights out there now. This is the thing. So, you know, I know he's been hard done by when you look at the other fighters that have had a title shot. So, for instance, Molina, like he's had a title shot. You got Dominic Brazil, I think he's had title shots. You know, so he has been hard done by. But the problem is the quality of in that heavyweight division now is so good that if you're not there at the time and you can't get the win against Povetkin at that fight, when your chances are next, then you're not going to get it for a while. You're going to have to wait around. He's not going to win a title anyway, in my opinion. He's good, but he's not at the top elite tier caliber. He's just below it. But still, it's a fight everyone will want to see, and it would do the numbers, wouldn't it? Yeah. For me, though, I'd say Wilder. Wilder's got to be his next target. I'd love to see that fight. You know, they're both arrogant. They've both got that demeanour. They hate each other. It'd just be great for boxing, and the publicity it would get would be huge for me. They both talk up their game. And I generally do think, because of both of their styles and the power punches that they are, I think that fight would be really good.
Yeah, no, there's some brilliant fights out there. I don't want to see him wait as well, personally. I'd like to see a Wilder, Ruiz Jr., maybe an Ortiz. What about you, Eddie? Who would you like to see? I know you mentioned Wilder just there. Is there any other names you can think of?
Yeah, I think, so you mention them three. I think he beats Ortiz. I think he beats Ruiz just. I think it'll be close with Ruiz, but I think he will knock Ruiz out. But, mate, if he fights Deontay Wilder, his glass chin is going to be shown once again. I think Dillian Whyte cannot take a bomb from many people in the heavyweight division. If they land flush, I think Dillian Whyte's knocked out. We've seen it with a lot of his fights. We've seen Parker rock him. We've seen Chisora rock him. We've seen AJ rock him. Yes, it is heavyweight division, but when you see a fighter get rocked on so many occasions and then go in to fight the Bronze Bomber, I think if he lands, mate, it's lights out for him. But yeah, who would I like to see him out of those three? I'd like to see him probably fight Deontay Wilder. Come on, that would be a great fight. Everyone wants to see Deontay Wilder back in the ring. All this talk, all this bullshit he's going on about with Fury cheating. Let's bring him to the UK. Let's get a big fight in the UK. Wembley, could do Wembley, or potentially the O2 would be great. Dillian Whyte, Wilder. I'd love to see that. So yeah, hopefully he can get it on with Wilder. If not one of the other two, I don't mind.
Yeah, I echo that as well. I'd love to see. I think Wilder, White's probably the best fight out there, other than Fury and AJ. To be fair, I think, like you say, cracking fight. Is it realistic? I don't know. I don't know if Deontay Wilder will want that. I think he seems to be waiting for a Tyson Fury shot. I don't know what he's going on at the moment with Deontay Wilder. Like you say, he's going a bit mad at the moment. So we wait and see what happens on that regard. But yeah, Dillian, just keep active, I suppose, and it's going to be a long wait if it's not what Fury or AJ. If they got a 2-fight deal, it's not going to be this year and probably not next, like early part of next year. Probably waiting late 2022 if he's going to get a title shot. So we wait and see with that. Dillian Whyte, and obviously now we're going to go to the co-main event. Wardley Molina, who all of us had an interest in this fight. I'll start with Eddie. What was your thoughts? A lot of people a bit critical of Wardley in this fight. Thought Molina took a dive. What do you think of this?
Molina took a dive. I mean, there's no way to deny that. I mean, I don't know what Molina was doing. He had Fabio hurt, which we were shocked to see, to be fair. And Fabio, fair play to the guy, he took a punch. He stepped back. He was still moving. His movement was fine. And as soon as he threw a couple back, Molina just decided to dive to the floor. I don't know what Molina was thinking. I mean, I know maybe he's not got ambition. I mean, the fight to me, initially, if Molina had ambition in the sport still, the fight makes no sense. Yes, I understand you're going to get a good payday, co-main event, heavyweight on against a British prospect. But, you know, I feel like Molina, I feel like he had more in him if he wanted to. But I'm not going to take anything away from Fabio. You know, having Molina on your resume is amazing for what? Under 12 fights? Is that 10 fight? Something around those numbers. I mean, Molina's fought at the world level. His challenge for world titles twice. Lost to Deontay and lost to AJ. So, you know, I can't knock anything, Fabio. Good performance. Like to see Fabio have some more fights at domestic level, get him in with somebody like Nick Webb. I'd like to see that fight. Nick Webb won on the night as well, so that's great. We could get them two on. That'd be good for the British fans to see, because I think Fabio's still got a lot of learning to do. I mean, if you start pushing on from here and here, you're going to start getting into some very challenging fights for a guy with such inexperience. He's had a limited amateur background from the white collar scene. So for Fabio's development and learning, I like to see him have a few more fights around the level of British before he starts trying to move up too quickly, but can't take anything away from him. Great fight, great win, great knockout, and just shows that he can take a punch, which we haven't seen Fabio get anyone throw back at him and hit him flush. So yeah, great performance and building for the future for Fabio.
Yeah. Harvey, what's your thoughts then on the stoppage, and bit of a bizarre stoppage, and where does Fabio go next, and your thoughts on Molina, mate?
These boxers that come to the UK and stuff, or Gibraltar in this case, but like Molina, pissed me off, mate, to be fair. They've got a big chance. They can prove himself against someone like Wardley, who is still young and still learning. And like Eddie said, it just didn't make sense. The guy's just rocked Wardley a little bit, you could say. He definitely hurt him, and he hurt him. And then he goes and he gets hit with a right, which is just didn't look like it didn't really look like a powerful punch, in all honesty. Like, it looked like a good punch, but it didn't look anything that would sort of stun your opponent or have him down. And he just looked like he was like, oh, I've done 4 rounds, I'm knackered, I'm going to stay on the floor. It was just like he was, do you know what I mean? It was just bizarre. Like, he was just, had Wardley knocked a little bit, and then he just went and just laid on the floor. But no, it takes nothing away from Wardley, mate. He's showing that he's got power. He's showing that he's got speed. You could say that's the first time you've seen him in a fight where someone's actually landed on him, and landed pretty well. Molina did at times. He took it well. But yeah, it's just bizarre, these boxers. It's like Charles Martin's the same. There's a few of them out there, like Brazil. They just get hit, and you just almost think, well, how has that put you down? And the fact you can't even get up from it. He just looked like, I can't be asked to get up, even though he could have. That's what it looked like. Obviously, that's just us saying that. We're not in the ring. We're watching it. But from my perspective, I haven't seen any post fight interviews on it yet. So I'll be interested to hear what he comes out with. But yeah, weird one. It was a bit of a shame, because I was expecting, after that exchange he had with Wardley just before, I was then expecting that to really sort of light up the fight, and then Wardley catches him, and he obviously hit him, and it was a good punch. But yeah, just a bit disappointed with it. But performance-wise from Wardley, yeah, again, showing that he means business in the heavyweight game, you know.
Yeah, no, agree. Yep, another W, a good name on his resume, like you boys mentioned. But a bizarre stoppage. I agree with that, actually. I think Molina's a weird one, because he had him rocked and you thought Molina could push on, and yeah, just, I don't know, took a dive potentially. You can argue it for sure. I can see why people were saying it. But yeah, the next fight, though, what a cracking fight this was. Ted Cheeseman, James Metcalf. You see Ted Cheeseman's face. He probably looked better after the fight than he did before the fight, to be fair. Good old Ted. But no, it was a war, weren't it? I'll start with you, Eddie. What were your thoughts on the fight? Both had their moments, and yeah, Ted at the end getting a brilliant knockout, 11th round knockout. So what's your thoughts, Eddie?
What did I tell you about the big cheese? The big cheese doesn't fail to perform when he's on the big stage. Big cheese is always in wars, and that's why I don't really love the division that he's in too much, but I like watching him, because he comes with wars, and that if someone don't get stopped, someone's having a dust up. So yeah, it was an awesome fight. Ted Cheeseman, he boxed really well, surprisingly, against undefeated fighter. Cheeseman, he lost to Fitzgerald, then came back and beat Eggington narrowly. And I wasn't really too interested in this fight too much on paper, but when it came, it was matched well by Eddie, and it was a great fight. Not Fitzgerald, what's his name? Metcalf, that's it.
That's right.
JJ Metcalf. I thought he was quite quiet in the fight. didn't really throw too much combinations when I thought he was on the back foot quite a lot, while Cheese was taking centre ring. But I'd like to see Cheese move on now. You know, there's a rematch with Eggington, or the Fowler fight is quite a good fight. I think both fights are wars yet again. I do think Fowler will come out on top if he fought the Big Cheese, but yeah, I'd like to see that fight next, potentially, for the Big Cheese.
Yeah, no, I think the Fowler fight, I agree with that. I actually want the Big Cheese to win. I think he can win that. He's becoming a bit of a cult hero. The Big Cheese always delivers great fights. At 25 years old, though, he doesn't look his age, and a hell of a lot of wars. You don't want to be in too many fights like that, do you, Harvey, mate? What's your thoughts on the fight, the Big Cheese?
Yeah, it's a proper brawl, wasn't it? You know, both were really good on the night. I must say I changed my sort of opinion on it last minute, as I said, and thought JJ Metcalf would come out on top. I also didn't expect any knockouts, to be fair. You know, the Cheese doesn't always get knockouts, but yeah, as a boxing performance-wise, it was a great one. It's probably fight of the night. Yeah, they both looked good on the night. I couldn't really see anyone having the upper hand on it too much, but Cheeseman delivered in the end, and it was a great punch. Credit to JJ Metcalf for staying in there as long as he did. It was a good fight. It's what we wanted to see in the others. Really, it had everything. It was quick hands from both fighters. Landed well, but yeah, Cheese, like Eddie says, he's underrated, I think, and he does perform on the big stage. So I'm pretty chuffed for him, and I think Fowler's got to be the next fight. And like you say, I could see him causing the upset there as well. I could see him beating Fowler, but that's going to be the next fight for me. He's got to take that, and yeah, he's a good boxer, and he showed that last night, I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. I found it funny at the end. He was saying to Eddie Hearn, "You need to pay me good money next contract," and I agree with him. He's spot on. He deserves good money if he gets a Anthony Fowler fight. That would be quite a big fight, I think, as well. So hopefully they both get paid nicely in that fight. And yeah, totally agree. Fight of the night for me. That made the pay-per-view. That was a hell of a fight for me. The next fight, young Campbell Hatton, Ricky's son. A little bit, obviously, a lot of pressure. A little bit of pressure on him, really. He's still he's a pup in the game. Harvey, what were your thoughts on it, mate?
Ruined my acca, didn't he, mate? Everything else come in. All the sections I predicted to come in, and not that one. Yeah, he was a bit erratic, I thought, last night, you know, but like, it's his first fight. He's going to be nervous. You know, the problem is that opponent, he's lost all of his fights. You didn't really know what to expect from him. I certainly didn't know much about the guy at all, Jesus. What I liked about him last night was his speed. He was very quick, has fast hands. At times, you could say he defended. He didn't have his guard up all the time. You know, that was a little bit of a concern. But it's his first fight. You know, he's going to be learning on the job. Fighter like him. But yeah, it's exciting to see. You know, you're watching his dad when we were younger and whatnot, and now see him in there. It's scary. It makes you feel old. But it's hard to take too much from it, isn't it? Really, last night, I think he definitely. You could see he wanted the knockout. You could see he wanted it. But he just didn't. You know, it was only a 4-rounder as well, so you can't take too much away from it. I think, would he have gone that ham if it had been a longer fight? Probably not. He probably wouldn't have come out, you know, that fiery and that fast pace. But he looked like his fitness levels looked like they were there, 100%. He didn't look tired, but you know, in a longer fight, he's not going to be able to give it that much, I don't think, you know. But yeah, good performance. Definitely can improve, and he will improve over time. But he's learning on the job. Like I say, he's still young, very young fighter. But yeah, you can take a little bit away from last night's fight for him, but you can't take too much away from it and look into things too much at this stage in his career. But he's got the dub. That's what he needed, and that'll kickstart him. I think he's going to be on the Chisora Parker card, is he? I think. So it'd be good to see him then again. And yeah, he'll work his way up, and he's gonna have to cherry pick the easy fights to begin with, like they all do. So let's see what can happen. But yeah, good performance, but can be improved, and it will.
Yeah, no, agree. Totally. He looked knackered after the fight, didn't he? Bless him. 4 rounds, shattered. Got the W. Most importantly, Eddie, what were your thoughts on Campbell Hurricane Hatton, mate?
It was good to see him on the bill. obviously, when you hear the name Hatton, you always think of his old man and think, this could be something special coming up, and it's definitely in Eddie Hearn's plans to make him the next pay-per-view star. Most fighters that come out for their pro debut, they're live on Facebook or they're live on YouTube. This guy was, on one of big pay-per-view bill, doing a 4-rounder, don't get me wrong, but at 20 years old, it's a big stage to come for your first fight. So, the lad got the win, but against a very tough opponent. But you could see that he's very erratic, a lot of nervous energy built up. I mean, he's been in front of the media all week at 20 years old. He's probably used to fighting in front of, 30, 40 people. He's now got, 250,000 to 1 million people in the UK watching him, all across the world, people in the arena in front of all these high profile professional boxing people. So, the whole industry was watching him last night, and I feel like he got the job done. Quite erratic in there, you saw a bit of class in there. He's been trained by his uncle, Andrew Hatton, I think his name is. Matthew Hatton, sorry, don't get that wrong. So you can see he's getting trained by, some top class trainers. So you saw some of his dad's sort of pedigree coming through, but a lot of erratic behaviour. He definitely wanted that knockout. He wanted to be in the newspapers, getting a KO win, but it didn't come. The guy was very tough, unknown fighter. He's lost every fight. Spanish or from Gibraltar, I think the fighter was, drafted in at quite late notice, but he was very tough. He took a lot of punishment to the body, at least, from Campbell Hatton. But, he looks powerful, just like his dad, throwing that left hook to the body. It looks like it's going to be quite a dangerous shot against some of his opponents. But, yeah, after 4 rounds, the poor lad looks shattered. But I think he can definitely take positives. He's not going to feel half as nervous for his next fight because he's got that pro debut out the way. He's been on the big stage, on a big bill. I think he's going to try and get out 8 times or something in this year. It's a lot of times to get out. They're going to cherry pick his opponents because he needs to fight some journeymen just to get the numbers going, get confidence, fine tune his skills that he's been learning in the gym. And then you never know where it can go. It's very hard to say at this stage where he's going to go, if he's going to be a superstar, but he's young. He's in the right place, and when you've got Hatton in your name, if you want to do well in the sport, I'm pretty sure you can. So let's see what he does, but good to see him out, and it was a good win to get his pro debut.
No, yeah, spot on. I think it's a long-term project, like you boys echoed. I think he probably needs about 10, 15 fights, like you say, a journeyman, good, solid names just to build his record up. Hopefully get his man strength, because he's still a young lad, like you say, he's only 20, so he needs to get his man strength a little bit, build nice and slowly. And yeah, he landed some good body shots in the fight as well. He had Jesus Ruiz hurt a couple of times, so it's positives there. There were positives. A lot of people were a little bit negative, but he's a young lad, so give the guy a break. It was his debut, got the W, so well done, Campbell Hatton. Next fight was a bit of not a shock to some, but a little bit to me, I suppose. I picked Congo. I was quite big on Chris Congo, but McKinson, to be fair, he'd done the job. He boxed superbly in the fight, looked good. Knocked down Congo in the first round and then boxed really comfortably to a decision in my eyes. Harvey, how did you see the fight, mate?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, actually. Chris Congo didn't look at his best last night, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that was because he was up against someone with real talent. And you've got to give a lot of credit to McKinson last night, because it was a very, very rounded off performance, weren't it? I mean, from the first round, I thought this was going to be a quick one. I thought it's going to be. I still, even when he knocked him down, I still expected Congo to come back firing. I thought it's going to be early over, but in the end, it went the distance. Right decision, 100% right decision. It's just a bit of a. Congo was still in it, but you just felt he didn't do enough. He didn't land enough. McKinson, like I say, all round great night for him. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, I think, McKinson. He really doesn't. Last night, you've seen that he has got quality. Tough one to take for Congo. He's still young, though. He's, sometimes a loss can be good for a young boxer, He'll come back. And we need to see a bit more from him, I think. He's looked good in his last couple of fights I've seen him. Last night, I don't think he was at it for me. That first round sort of put him off, and I think he didn't recover fully from it. And yeah, it was the right decision, and it's a bit of a shame that he's lost. But like I say, he'll be back. He's young, and just shows that he's got a bit of work to do to make it to the top level. He's got work to do. I don't think that'll be the end of the hype for him. I really don't. As I say, he's still young. First loss, but I think he'll come back, and hopefully we see a better version of him.
Yeah, totally. An L doesn't define you, and yeah, he can come back from that strongly. Like you said, McKinson, he got the knockdown. I felt he eased through that. He had that lead, and he kind of just boxed his way to a decision, and fair play, because you got to do what you got to do in there. And yeah, good fight from McKinson. Eddie, did you have much thoughts on this fight? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, shocked as well with the result, but obviously not knowing too much about McKinson myself, just knowing that he's unbeaten, Portsmouth lad. But I think Congo just came up against a better fighter, I'm afraid. Congo, he's had quite an easy run in his pro ranks, and having 13 wins in a row, or 12 wins in a row, and now 1 loss. He's a spanner in the works for his career, but I think he's young. He needs to go back, fine tune a lot of his skills. And when he did step up to this McKinson fight, he just didn't have the class, and he needs to go back, do a lot of training if he wants to push for his ambitions of. Pretty sure he's got world title and European sort of ambitions, and that's what we all thought as well. So yeah, he needs to go and take a look at himself, dust down, get back on the horse, and come back with a fight back at British level, and then try and work his way back up. But there's still a big future for him in the sport, and I hope he can fight these demons, get over the loss, and then push on with his career.
Yeah, totally. I agree. There's still fights out there, isn't there? There's Marku. There's loads of good names in welterweight division. I'd like to see McKinson. I know I don't reckon Conor Benn will be calling him out anytime soon, but that would be a great fight, maybe. But yeah, we'll see with that. The last fight at the beginning of the show, it was a heavyweight fight. I thought probably the biggest shock of the night. I don't think any of us were expecting Nick Webb to do what he did and absolutely destroyed Eric Pfeiffer. He was quite disappointing, I thought, Eric Pfeiffer. I don't think he really showed anything. He showed 0 punch resistance. I thought he was shocking, really. I don't know what you thought, Harvey. A bit of a shock, though. Nick Webb was a big underdog in that fight, weren't he?
He was, yeah. Again, started off the night with a shock. He was really poor. Pfeiffer was really poor. He never really landed much. I'll be honest, I hadn't seen him fight before. Pfeiffer, obviously, I've seen Webb fight before, and I've never really rated him highly. So the fact that is he a Dillian Whyte boxer? Pfeiffer, is he one of the?
He was sparring.
Yeah, he's sparring partner.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, he was poor. Webb outboxed him. He landed some good shots. Webb did last night. To be fair, surprised a lot of people. I think everyone had written him off before that fight. Remember Dave Allen beat him as well, beat Webb. But he looked good last night. He looked sharp. He's clearly trained hard, and you can see from last night that he might be making a little bit of a comeback. I still don't think Webb's going to get far, because he's just not good enough personally. But last night, great performance. Pfeiffer, I don't really know where he's going to go from that, because I think as a shock result, he never really recovered from the first knockdown. Fair play to Webb. He outboxed him, landed some good shots. He was powerful at times, and you can't write anyone off in the heavyweight division. We see it time and time again where these punches are landed, and even if they don't knock them out completely, the knockdown in itself will be hard to come back from. And we saw that last night from Pfeiffer, that his chin was all over the place. His legs looked shaky the minute he sort of got hit. So fair play to Webb. Maybe he will fight Fabio next. I don't know. It's a possibility. I don't think Webb's, when you've got Dave Allen knocking people out, you do worry. But we'll see. Fair play to Webb on the night, though. He's got the job done, and he's surprised a few boxing fans. So there you go. Fair play to him.
Yeah, spot on, boys, spot on. Great breakdown of the whole card. Lastly, I'd just like to get a ranking out of 10, what you actually thought of the card as a whole, and yeah, pay-per-view quality. That's the last thing. Yeah. I'll start with Eddie.
I I thought the card was decent. I'm not going to say it was a great card. I'm not going to say it was a terrible card, but I'm going to say it was decent. You know, Cheeseman fight made the night good, but like a lot of the heavyweight fights, I thought I didn't say what I thought about Pfeiffer, but the Pfeiffer fight, I didn't think Pfeiffer wanted to be in there. I thought like once he was down, he didn't want to get up. Molina, same again, and you know, potentially Povetkin didn't really want to be in there too much. So you know, a lot of the fights were quite, you know, one-sided in that respect, but I thought it was a good night. You know, the Hatton name helped sell a few pay-per-views and stuff like that, but in my opinion, you know, it's 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, something like that. You know, not too bad. I think it will be better than the Chisora Parker fight, but we'll have to see about that. That one's coming up in May, so yeah, not too bad. Was quite happy with it. Had a good night. Saw some good fights. Happy for Dillian. Happy for Fabio, and yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. And lastly, with you, Harvey, just your final thoughts on the card, mate. As a whole,
Disappointed on the whole, to be fair. Povetkin, really poor performance from him. He was defeated before the fight had begun. Molina was a letdown. You know, he looked good at times, and then obviously, like we've discussed, went down too easy for me. Just wanted that paycheck. I don't really want to see him fight again, especially any big names. I've got no interest in seeing Molina fight after last night. Really, he's past it. You can see that. Didn't even look like he really trained that hard, judging by the shape he was in. I know he has got that type of build, but yeah, let down from him. I thought that could have been a really good fight from the couple of exchanges they had, so it's a shame. Dillian Whyte came out best version with arguably some of him. I thought he would. Again, Povetkin, thanks for the memories. You know, he's been a great boxer, but I think it's time to hang up the gloves. Cheeseman fight, that was obviously really good. Didn't expect it to be the best fight of the night, but it was. Chris Congo fight was good too, but like I say, the big fights let us down. Obviously, you'd have liked to see Campbell get the knockout, but you know that's how it is. He still performed well at times, but overall a letdown, mate. I expected a lot more. I expected a good exchange in the two big fights. We didn't. We saw it just before with Wardley getting hit. It was a good combo from Molina just before we went down, but then how is he going to go down that easy when he's done 9 rounds with Wilder is beyond me. You see how big Wilder punches, and then he's gone down like that. So yeah, let down. Don't really want to see Molina fight again after that. I never really. I want to say I didn't expect him to win, but I definitely thought we'd see a good fight, and we didn't really get that. But big up Fabio again, smashing it. He'll keep going, and it's another building step for him, you know. So, but yeah, disappointed overall, mate. But at least we got to see some fights, you know.
Yeah. No, I thought it was piss poor, to be honest with you. Eric Molina co-main eventing a pay-per-view, lads. Like, come on, we got to be better than that. Like, that's not good enough for me. I know we're in a pandemic and money's tight, but Fabio done his job though. That's Fabio. You say it's a good one for Fabio, so that's good for him.
Exactly.
Povetkin Whyte, obviously Povetkin, 41 years old, didn't look right. You boys called it spot on as well. You both said the knockout. I stupidly thought Povetkin might get another chin him again because I thought Whyte was vulnerable. But fair play, Dillian Whyte done what he had to do, beat who was in front of him, and that version of Povetkin wasn't a Povetkin like we've seen over the years, but that's boxing. Cheeseman Metcalf for me delivered the pay-per-view fight. That was the best fight of the night, and that gave value for money. But overall, I thought it was pretty poor. I'd say 6 out of 10, but we move, guys. All right then, guys. Thank you very much for coming on. Always a pleasure talking boxing with you, lads, and hopefully we'll be on again soon.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. HM Boxing, we're out.